It is all over the news. You might have heard what has happened to Sri Lanka. According to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sri Lanka has recently declared its bankruptcy. As the economic crisis drags on, the country is becoming more and more impoverished. In May, for the first time in its existence as an independent nation, the country foreclosed on its debt. As a result, the country's foreign currency and petroleum reserves have been depleted, resulting in a worsening economic situation. Amidst the economic crisis, the president of Sri Lanka fled the country, leaving the people miserable with severe shortage of food and fuel. Hey guys, and welcome back to this channel. This is Chad Confirmed, bringing you the hottest news in the crypto world. The bankruptcy of Sri Lanka led to millions of people struggling to buy food, medication, and gasoline as the country experiences its worst economic crisis in decades. It may not look like it, but the population of Sri Lanka is more than 21 million people, and the country's GDP was worth $84.2 billion during 2021, which only says so much that this isn't a little country that's going down. They are starving, banks have gone down, and protests have broken out because of food shortages. For this reason, I believe that Bitcoin is essential. All the more reason to require systems that are not governed by a central authority. Most individuals believe they would never have to file for bankruptcy, but in fact, every year, 1.5 million Americans do. Having no influence over the events of monetary policies in an economic crisis is a shot in the shoulder. Although, there is a silver lining, for a hedge against this risk is provided by Bitcoin. So, how did Sri Lanka arrive at this position in its history? What exactly does it mean for a country to be bankrupt? At a time when the world's attention is riveted on the conflict in eastern Ukraine, it's critical to keep an eye on the situation in Sri Lanka and assess how the conflict there has prompted issues abroad. Now, I don't want to just attribute this to the Ukraine conflict, but Sri Lanka has a long history of problems that go back decades. Sri Lanka is in debt in nations like China as a result of government incompetence and significant expenditures on various projects. As of right now, they do not have the money to pay for foreign reserves, new shipments of oil, or to pay for the obligations they currently have. Because of this, they are effectively insolvent. To be able to resolve the bankruptcy, they need tens of billions in assistance. People are unable to get to work and schools have been shut down because there is no fuel. As food costs rise, the government is forced to take drastic measures like requiring public employees to cultivate crops in their own backyards or even pushing them to go abroad in order to find work and give money back to their families in Sri Lanka. As a result, we're witnessing an unprecedented degree of despair and turmoil. Sri Lanka's difficulties stem from centralization, human greed and folly, decisions made by a few at the expense of many, problems with corrupt leadership, and constantly shifting monetary policies. Money and property are corrupted and controlled as a result of this. According to government figures, Sri Lanka's inflation rate is over 50%, which means that the true rate is likely far higher. Bitcoin exists because of this. There is a good chance that what is occurring in Sri Lanka is going to happen in other countries as well. With enough time, fiat currencies are always depreciated and inflated, and as a great alternative, Bitcoin can be the one to save us all, for it is not held by any government institutions. Therefore, it stands independent and not influenced by the downfall of a country. That's what I like about Bitcoin. Many nations have had large-scale protests for various reasons, but in Sri Lanka, it is because of people's dissatisfaction with concentrated power, particularly their government. Having a position in the government and having the means to control money allows you to exert power over the public. In order to avoid the monetary system, you definitely need to switch to Bitcoin. At this point, you might be second guessing switching to Bitcoin. Now, we wouldn't want to wait until the peak of inflation and the bankruptcy of our own countries, right? This sounds sponsored, but trust me, it's not. I am also not a financial expert. However, if you want to share your thoughts about ultimately switching to Bitcoin rather than traditional banking, I would like to know your thoughts and experiences in the comment section below. And if you know someone that might be interested in this video, then share this link for them to watch. Moving on, in terms of first world or developed countries, they said that they'd rather not sacrifice their authority. According to the Bank of England, which is concerned about systemic risk, stronger restrictions for crypto are needed. The majority takeaway from this is the following. As a result of the market's inherent weaknesses, the Bank of England has recommended tighter regulations of cryptocurrencies. Crypto asset prices have been plummeted from a peak of about $3 trillion last year to the current level of $883 billion, according to a new analysis from the UK Central Bank. Despite the fact that this meltdown did not constitute a threat to financial stability as a whole, stricter regulations are needed in the future to safeguard the whole financial system. Consequently, they've acknowledged the fact that Bitcoin is here to stay and are working to maintain as much control as possible over it. In light of all of this, where does Bitcoin stand? The real signal regarding Bitcoin adoption: every time the price drops, new investors exit the market since they were just here for the price to rise. However, as the price of Bitcoin falls, a growing number of individuals acquire faith in it and continue to hold it. Every cycle, a growing number of new members join the Bitcoin community. On the other hand, DeFi procedures from some of the biggest names in the industry are going to take a big step forward. It's possible that the future of DeFi may look like this. MakerDAO votes to allow $100 million DAI loans to US Bank. The Huntington Valley banks in the US will be allowed to accept 100 million DAI tokens, which is the only stablecoin supported by MakerDAO in the Ethereum ecosystem. Moreover, it's worth noting that even in the face of a bear market, Billboard's top 10 music NFTs produced more than 1,000 Ethereum in transaction volume. Not only is this a huge success for NFTs and musicians, but it's also a huge win for Ethereum and cryptocurrency advertising. Ethereum is still a great place to be for many things, including NFTs. This just proves that cryptocurrency thrives even in the midst of a crisis. So, rethink your choices and consider investing and using cryptocurrency. That's all for today. If you learned something new, like this video and make sure you hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our uploads. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this video. Kindly subscribe if you haven't already. This is Chat Confirmed, signing off.